7 years into the future, how is the club doing? Who's still there? Have we managed to win any trophies? I'll be honest with you, the answer's probably not, but it's going to be interesting to find out. My name's FM21, and this is the Red Devils Rising. After my retirement, it is currently May 31st of 2035. I have not taken a look at this. I mean, it literally just got here. I saved it, and then I started recording. So we are going to go up here and go Kaiser. 4th in the Bundesliga. That's actually not too bad. Marcus Babbel is still in charge. Alvaro Carrillo is still there. Jose Jesus Sanchez is still there. Lucas Bernat is still there. They've been on an upward climb. So this is 29-30. This is 31 right here. So 6th to 5th to 5th to 4th to 4th. So back-to-back 4th place finishes. Marcus Babbel is still in charge. Still playing a 4-2-3-1. Pokal runner-up. Euro Cup 2 runner-up. Pokal runner-up again. See a lot of players being appointed as vice captains and whatnot. So let's do this. Let's go transfers and transfer history and try not to look as we scroll back. Okay, so this is 20-30-31, which I remember because Jose Jesus went to Feyenoord. So 31-32, Alistair Stevenson I recognize. He's an attacking midfielder who also plays on the left. I scouted him previously. But on the outs, who they bring in? Who they spend all the money on? Alvaro Baja, who's a striker. Okay. Nico Schmidt went to PSG for $108 million. Of course he did. Look at that. 24 years old. Wow. They made him a winger. He's a good winger. I still think he'd be a better striker, but that's just me. Okay. They let go of Matusau, who was another person they brought in to play striker. So they brought in Stevenson permanently for 18.75 here. Who did they sell? Obradovic went to Partizan for $500,000. That's one of the big names I remember. Jordi van Luteren. They brought him in and then they turned around and sold him. Okay, so here's 33-34. Unless it's a name I remember standing out because I scouted them, I'm not going to recognize hardly any of these names on the ends. Benjamin Nygren from Schalke. Him I remember because he also has a photo. He's 33 years old, and they paid $30 million for him, going to 38. They sold Soriano to... Goodness gracious. Lucas Coons with the Paderborn for $1 million. Soriano to Man City for $61 million. He's probably still starting there, isn't he? He is. Look at this. 38 appearances, 33 goals allowed, 16 shutouts, a 7.14 rating. World-class goalkeeper. Sure, they probably could have got more for him than $61 million. On the outs, Peter Thiel went to Chelsea for $54 million. Goodness gracious. Jimmy Bino Gittins finally moved on to Celtic. Look at that. Look at that. 20 decision-making, 20 agility, 17 acceleration, 19 stamina. Gets forward whenever possible, looks around the keeper, looks for the pass, moves the ball to the right foot before dribble attempt. He actually wouldn't be a bad midfielder on the right. That's... On one hand, it's gratifying because it tells me that the players I've been looking at and picking are actually going to turn into something that we can move on for a decent amount of money. But at the same time, You should have gotten more for them than that. So they got Adrian Ene in goal, who came from Milan. And that's not bad. Sturgios here, we brought him in. Burnett is still here, 28 years old. Oh, good season from him, 16 goals, 8 assists. Solid. Wow, I keep saying that a lot. He's a solid advanced midfielder. Looks like he got injured here, but yeah, it's definitely a good pickup. Anyone else on the team that I picked up? Kasana, Sanchez. I'm not seeing Swiderski. Is it Aston Villa? Two years ago. 29-30. Oh, they sold him the first season after I retired. Okay. That's why I didn't see him. Okay, well, you know what? Let's check out the best 11 here. Dragan Baja. Burnett, Schmidt, of course. Sanchez. Pescastreo. Carrillo, who's still with the squad. He's been a solid pickup. Look at Burnett, look at Schmidt. Decker. Is it Wolves now? Although, frankly, allowing 52 and 35 and 53 and 33 probably isn't doing wonders for him. But they're in the Prem. Can't go wrong there. Whatever happened to Gubbles? He is at Vigo. He was at Vigo last time we looked at him. And he has not done much. And then Pellegrini. Fiorentina, but the under-20s. Also, not done much. That's what happens when you chase the money, fellas. So let's go back a couple of seasons and look. You know what? Here we'll look at the finishes here in the Bundesliga. Back to 28. Bayern and BVV have been switching on and off. Okay. 63 points. The goal differential was the same, but we probably beat Leipzig. And then last year, 5 points ahead for fourth place. Missed out on fourth place by 2 points there. Missed out on fourth place by 6 points there. And then this was the season they finished in Europa League. So if we look at the schedules, this is when they lost to BVV in the final. So that was the end of the 31 season. So 31-32. They were in the Europa League with Watford, Sporting, Metz. And they got out, they beat Groningen. No, they didn't get out of the group. You know what, we need to do this. So they lost to Watford. They beat Sporting. They lost to Metz. They beat Metz. They lost at Watford again. They drew to Sporting. So they dropped out of the Euro League in the first knockout round of the Euro Cup, where they beat Groningen, then they beat Olympiacos, then they beat Krasnodar, lost to Dortmund in the semi-final of the Pokal, beat Club Brugge on penalties after the goals were the same, and then they lost to Norwich in the final. It's not bad. 32-33 was Euro Cup. They got to the knockout round and lost to Real Hispalis. Trabzonspor, Club Brugge, Maribor. Okay. 33-34. Got to the Euro Cup, and were knocked out by Sampdoria. 34-35. Shakhtar Standard, Red Star in the Europa League. Wow, this was a good season. We got to the semifinals where we got beat by Watford, and then we lost to Leipzig in the Pokal final. So this was this season. So this was a really good season for everybody. So it hasn't been, it's been a good run, but we're also rapidly reaching the point where if we look at the players and we're filtering in everybody, Burnett, Gasana, Carrillo, Sanchez, those are the only ones who are still on the team that I brought in. Some of them got let go on freeze, like Marco Hen. Flesner and Chalet left on freeze. Where's Flesner at? Olympiacos, 16 goals. There's 3 goals and 16. Chalet's at Alaves, and he's had a decent career. Kind of miss they didn't move him on for money. I suspect that may be one of those cases where they tried signing him to a contract and they said no, or he said no and they moved him on, or let him go on a free. Mike Krause left on a free. DeTolo left on a free. This was last season. So they've kept the steady climb going. Now we're at the point where you're facing the big three in the Bundesliga. In this version of the Bundesliga, it is Bayern, Borussia Dortmund, and Hertha. I think if we go back and we look at the stages, Bayern, Hertha, BVB, Dortmund, Bayern, Hertha, Bayern, BVB, Leipzig, Hertha in fourth, BVB, Bayern, Schalke, BVB, Bayern, Schalke. So Schalke's managed to climb their way back to respectability. So yeah, this has been an interesting look. I'm kind of surprised that what's his name? I'm totally blanking on his name. I should know it. Babel is still here, but he's done a solid job with the team, considering we retired here, and they've been on a slow, steady climb ever since. They look like, without doing a huge deep dive into it, it looks like they're making some decent moves in the transfer window, and they're also turning around and selling players for decent money as well. If we look back, 95 out, 36 in. We got 92 in, 137 out. Now, granted, they sold some players I would consider to be cornerstones of any future club if I were still in charge. Like, I wouldn't let Nico Schmidt go, even for $108 million to PSG. I would have kept him. Same thing with Soriano. 21 in, 19 out. That's pretty much a wash. 68 in, 81 out, but 61 of that's Soriano going to Man City. So part of me wonders how much of that is. There's the mechanism in the game where a club's popularity and attractiveness doesn't really change if you're a big club and going down, and it's hard to improve if you're a small club and coming up. The prime example I've used in the past is FM21 when I took USL Dunkirk to the top of League One, and we won League One 4 out of 5 years. We won the Champions League 3 out of 5 years. We had a couple doubles, a couple triples, one quadruple. Man City had fallen down to the bottom of the Prem, and they made an offer for my striker, and he wanted to go because it was Man City, and they had the reputation. And it was just like, seriously, you're making good money here. We're winning silverware here left and right, and you want to go to a 15th place club in the Prem because it's the Prem? Come on. So I think that's kind of what's going on here, especially with like Peter Thiel and Soriano leaving, because there's no way Peter Thiel at this is not worth at least twice what they got for him. Unless he forced a move, which I don't think so, because the contract I remember signing him to, his release clause was a lot higher than $54 million. But maybe they made a move, maybe new ownership came in or something, and they felt they had to make a change. But they're making some nice moves. They're making some good moves. How many games do freaking Bino get in this mess? A ton. Good God. I lost money on him, but yeah, sometimes that's what happens. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they are 5 years from now. 5 years from now, I'm confident in saying no one that I brought on the club is going to stay there. It's going to be interesting to see if Babels and the computer can climb higher than fourth place. If not, that's okay. We wanted to get them back to upper table respectability. I knew it was going to be a long, hard haul. It took me a few years in FM17 to get past the bear that was PSG and all their oil money that let them literally spend $200 million, well, euros, every transfer window. But you can get there eventually. It's just they've reached the point now where the growth is... They've reached the point now where improvement is incremental at best. You know, we started here, we got up fairly quickly, and when we reached a point, and then instead of growing by leaps and bounds, now we're growing by steps. You know, you play this out long enough, eventually one of three things is going to happen. You're going to reach the top of the Bundesliga, you're going to fall off a cliff all the way back down to 3 Liga, or you're going to kind of level out and stay mid-table. So it's going to be interesting. We'll go out 5 years and see what happens there. We'll get to that here in a couple of days. I got some other things I need to set up. I'm looking at setting up my next save as well. I got to do some behind-the-scenes testing on that just to make sure, and we'll get that underway here in a little bit. But this has been interesting to watch. I'm very surprised and very happy they're doing as well as they're doing, and they've actually gotten close to some major silverware in the recent years, which leads me to believe going forward they're going to be serious contenders for some major silverware. So that said, if you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name's FM Jellico, and I thank you for watching.